Loaded Bases with Dave Sims. How's it going?
Doing well, doing well. I'm in Seattle because of COVID-19. My wife didn't come out
Ooh,
with this 60-day season, so she's back in New York with the kids and the grandkids. So I'm here right now, and I'm maxing out my time and maxing out the weather right now with baseball done for us.
oh yeah.
I played golf today, 6 times in 8 days, a personal best.
Wow.
Yeah,
Not bad.
yeah, 6 times in 8 days. I was like, "Phew."
I'd say like all the anxiety like of the season is done, so now you can just golf away and just
Yeah, and there's nothing else. There's not a heck of a lot else you can do. I mean, in
yeah.
terms of, like, you can't go to movies. I mean, I can
Nope.
go for a walk. I ride my Peloton. I do my workouts. I'm watching. I'm watching all the game, watching the playoffs, obviously.
Yeah.
And but and I got to because of there's one particular reason I have to stay here till December because of what do you call it? Residency requirements.
Oh really?
Thanks to the state of New York, they're not cutting anybody any breaks. I'm an official Washington resident, but I spend a lot of time in New York.
Yeah.
But if I were to come back, I'd be looking at a huge tax nut, so it's not worth it.
Yeah, no, I would rather like if I was in your case, I would just do what I can.
So I'm rooting for good weather through, I don't know, maybe all of November.
Hey, in Seattle, it's probably about 100% chance of rain, but there are some good sunny days up there,
Oh,
though.
there's no question. I'm ready to take advantage of it. I mean, it's like I was talking golf with a buddy yesterday who covers the golf scene, and he said golf nationwide, for obvious reasons, is up 40%.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
So guys like me and retired guys, and they want to get, or anybody who's maybe out of a job or has more time. It's great and it's competitive, and I'm slowly making improvements.
Yeah.
But I'm having a good time doing it.
Well, that's good. Yeah, no, I can't hit a golf ball straight to save my life.
Practice, practice, practice.
Hey, it is all the front elbow, and baseball kind of.
Yeah, I'm a former baseball player. I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
And every now and then you get tired, and mentally or physically tired, and all of a sudden the baseball swing comes back. I said, no, this isn't the time or place. What are you doing?
Oh, exactly. So have you always wanted to be in sports commentating? And then
heck yeah. I mean, I was
broadcasting?
sports commentating when I was playing dice baseball games, electric football games. I had a couple of friends, older guys that one guy in particular is a couple of years older than I was, and I was big for my age. So when I was like 8, 9, I was playing with 11 and 12-year-olds.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy, it was really cool. We'd be playing stickball or something, and he could be broadcasting. He's pitching and everything. So I took a shine to that, and I knew I wanted to get into. I was a jock all my life, all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I played through sophomore year of college. I played baseball 2 years, football 1. But I knew this. I knew, being in sports media is what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So what was kind of the route that you took, like, for that?
Well, it's not something that can really be duplicated. I mean, I started out as a newspaper guy. Actually, I started in college after I did that football year. I was in the radio station all the time. I mean, I did news, I did jazz shows, I did rock and roll shows, I did sports talk shows. I wrote for the newspaper. And then a life-changing event, got an internship at the Philadelphia Inquirer. I'm from Philly originally. And got an internship in summer of 73. And it was one of those, hey kid, you know anything about soccer? No, a little bit, not much. What are you going to learn? We have a new team. The expansion team, the Philadelphia Atoms of the North American Soccer League. That's your beat for this summer. And I learned.
You got to learn quick.
And I threw me in the deep end, swim out, and it turns out it was a very good team. And they went all the way to the championship and won the championship.
Oh,
I got
wow.
my first professional road trip going to Dallas, Texas, to cover that championship game. That would have been probably in mid-August of 73. And then I did a bunch of other things when I wasn't doing soccer.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of an internship program, one of about 14 kids. And the sports editor, bless his heart, Tim Kelly, he said, listen, you've done a hell of a job. We really like you. We're not having this major, 14, 15 kid program that was throughout the newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
He said, we'd love to have you back in sports next year. Do you want to come back? I said, hell yeah, let's do it. He came back and did more soccer and did some actually got to cover some Phillies games, had bylines, did some Eagles camp stories. I met guys who became friends later on in life. I think that first year I did a story on Jim Valvano, who was an unknown coach at Bucknell University. And he becomes one of the most storied, coaches in the history of the game. So and then from there, I ended up at the Daily News in New York, and I did that for 7 years and made just, invaluable contacts, connections. People got to see me, hear me, and that was for 7 years. And then the TV, cable TV exploded like 70, 78, 79, 80.
See, that was way before my time.
Yeah, well, Lincoln was before your time. You know about him. And that they were looking for people who could write, who could be on camera. And I wound up being an anchor at Satellite News Channel, which is now Headline News. And, that started my TV career. And, here I am.
Yeah. So how did you make your way up to Seattle? How did that whole thing?
I started doing Temple University football. I was at WFAN, first all sports station. And I got there 2 years. I'd had my own show at WNBC Radio in New York. And fifth was it? We were 44 states, clear channel, 50,000 watts at night. And I was on 7:30 to midnight when there were no games on. Mike Breen was my producer. Now Mike Breen's a Hall of Fame basketball.
Yeah.
And that job led me. I wound up getting the Temple University radio job. And a few months later, I got the ESPN, and I stayed there for like 15, 16 years. And I was doing baseball at ESPN. So it was like here, a step back, 2 steps up. It was one of those kind of deals. And ESPN, I did some baseball, 93, 94. I think I did a game. No, it wasn't until about I was doing some baseball with them in 03, 4-ish. I did a game in Seattle. Turned out that was the tape I used to get that got me the Mariner job. But it was a progression. ESPN, I did Win One Radio. I was a news anchor at the CBS O&O in New York, WCBS. I've done all kinds of things. And, doing a show with Coach K, 15th year doing that.
How is that? How is that like working, I guess, alongside like one of the greatest coaches?
Well, we know each other from my newspaper days when he was at Army and I was covering college hoops. I was president for a year, 2 years, local college basketball writers. We had weekly luncheons. We'd had a year-ender dinner, a fundraiser. And I got to know Mike. That's 1977, 78. And we started this show, 2005. So, we've become friends over years. And, I've gone down there and done media coaching for his guys. My wife and I, when we did that, we had that business working. So, how I got here to Seattle, the guy's now my boss was the marketing guy. I went to school with my brother-in-law, and I had done some lineups for him when they were in Syracuse in the late 80s. And, it's all about connections. It's all about –
that is what I'm learning. You
have to get your name and your material. You got to get it out to producers, marketing people, executive. That's, it's one thing to connect with another announcer, but another announcer can recommend you.
Yeah.
But in terms of making it happen, you need to meet producers and executive producers and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's a big, it's a learning curve. Cause I'll send out multiple messages like out to guys, and I'll get 1 or 2 responses, and then
but that's pretty good considering if you're sending out excuse me, a lot of volume of reaching out to people and you get 1 or 2, that's pretty good because our industry in sports media, everybody wants to do it.
Yep.
And I hear from, I've mentored a couple, 3 guys. One guy in Idaho, another guy in California, another guy in Missouri, and a couple of guys who've gotten jobs. They've asked for advice. I've critiqued their tapes. And there's a guy who's got a job down in Florida doing some baseball. So Yeah, it's a tough business, and once you get in, you just have to sustain it and just keep grinding, man.
Yeah, yeah. I think grinding is an understatement of trying to get into the sports media industry.
Yeah, and take the smallest job and treat it like it's the seventh game of the World
Yep.
Series. And I always use the Joe DiMaggio line. Joe, why do you play so hard all the time? While somebody's seeing me for the first time. And I read that quote. I never
Yep.
forgot. And it's so true. And that's you got to treat every broadcast like that's the way I treat it. It's like it's your last. You couldn't be more excited being there. Come on into the tent. We want you to enjoy the show. That whole thing. So that's my deal.
So yeah, so your first year in Seattle, that was in 2007?
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah, so June 2nd, 2007, that was my very first Mariners game.
Okay. You came to
person. Yes.
Cool.
That was my very first game. It was Mariners and who else was it? Texas Rangers.
Sounds right.
And it was JJ Putz came in, closed the game, and that month he was pitcher of the month.
Yeah, he had a great year. It's funny. I was just looking at his numbers the other day. I don't know. He had 40 saves thereabouts. Called him. They would play Thunderstruck by AC/DC.
Yes.
They had a nice mix. They put a nice mix of that, and it was really good. The ninth inning, here comes the big guy, JJ Putz.
Yes.
Good dude too. Really good dude.
Oh, for sure. So what, or I guess what moment, or actually, let me think of this. Okay. So what? Okay. So what was your favorite moment that you have broadcasted live?
What, for the Mariners or in general?
Let's do both. Okay, so let's do the Mariners first.
The Perfect Game by Felix.
Oh yeah.
No brainer. No, I mean, think twice about that. Second one was game 161. The hell year was that? Was that 16, 14? Yeah, it must have been 16 because Nelly was still here.
Mm-hmm.
And he had a home run to tie the game in the seventh inning in a back and forth game with the A's. If we win, we go to Sunday with a chance to win that game and get in the playoffs. And I think I might have been more amped on that home run that he hit than I was for one moment the Felix game, particularly from the second half on. That was just like the energy was unbelievable.
Oh yeah.
A moment though, that Nelly home run did it for me. I mean, I just one of my sons was there. He says, "Man, I've seen you hopped up before, but that's unbelievable." And somebody sent that to me recently on Twitter, and it was so exciting. And it was a back and forth game. We were down. Nelly tied it. The A's came back. They went ahead, and Ben Gamble tied it again, and we eventually lost the game. But that was a big moment. And I've done a bunch of I did a AFC Championship game where Brady at home beat Baltimore. And Baltimore, Joe Flacco hit the tight end on
yes,
right corner, dude from Wisconsin. And I remember the dude was from Wisconsin because my youngest son is a Wisconsin graduate.
Oh,
and I remember being so bummed because that guy had such a good year. And then they had missed a field goal that could have won it, I think, in overtime. In regulation, and it got in overtime. That dude dropped the ball. So that one, there was another one where another AFC Championship game.
Oh yeah, that was so I had a buddy who's a Ravens fan,
right.
and then
remember that.
Yeah, and then the very next day after a missed field goal, like for the win,
that
he distraught.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember
that one.
It was a good kicker too. It had a great year and had a great career.
Yes.
Yeah, I've done 7 conference NFC, AFC championship games. I've done the other one I always talk about was 06. George Mason beats Connecticut, the number 1 seed in the East. That was in DC. That was tremendous. So I've been lucky. I've had a lot of good. We've had some big Mariner games, some big Mariner wins, some big moments. Iwakuma's no.
Yep. Ooh, I actually that was back in 2016.
Let me think.
I think
Felix was 2012. I think Kuma was.
it was either
I think
17 or 16.
I think it was 16 because it was like it was Felix was August 12th of 2012, and I think it was August 12th of 2015, or something like that. But yeah, that was a big one. I remember Austin Jackson caught the last out. Seager made a heck of a catch in foul territory, running hard towards the sidewall, and made a great catch.
So I thought I bought tickets to that game, but I clicked the wrong date.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I'm watching the game on TV and there's a no.
Yeah.
That was not.
So that was good. So I've had the Felix Perfecto.
Yep.
The Kuma no, the 6-pitcher no. And I think there's another one in there somewhere. But we got no hit down in Anaheim last year before last. So I've had my share of those.
Yeah.
And a lot of great moments in doing Big East basketball, Atlantic 10 basketball. I was courtside host at the Final Four on national radio for years. I did 16, 17 years of NFL on radio.
Wow.
I got nothing to complain about.
Oh yeah, no. So according to this, you did what is it? You've done 2 perfect games.
Yeah, the Umber game against us in April of 2012, and then Felix.
Yeah.
2012. Yeah. Yeah, that was the Umber game. Yeah, he was an unheralded pitcher. He had I think he had washed out with the Mets, ends up with the White Sox. And that game was only broadcast. It was a B-net game, so it was only seen in Seattle and Chicago, greater Chicago area. And then they came to us in the 9th inning. And it was weird because, it was against my team, and I just, play it down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And then when Felix throws his, that was just all-out fandom,
Yeah. So according to the internet, says you are a believer in telling the audience when a pitcher is throwing a no.
Absolutely. I mean, it's not, we're broadcasting. We're not keeping secrets here.
Yeah.
And telling the story. It's telling a story. Tim McCarver, he told me, I'll never forget this. We were in Chicago, and he came in. It was so it must have been a Friday, obviously, and they had the next day on national TV. And I see McCarver, and I've been a big fan of his as a player and a broadcaster. He said, "Hey, Dave, boy," and we're talking. He said, "Hey, what's this about you and no hitter?" I went like, "Oh, okay, we're gonna go there." He says, "I'm glad you did it. Good for you." He says, "Let me tell you a quick story. I come home from doing a game one time, turn on the TV, throw my bags down, and the game's going along, and then I come back 20 minutes later, the game's in the 8th inning, and the guy finally says, so-and-so's got a no-hitter going. Well, if I knew that when I turned the TV on, I'd have sat there and watched the entire thing. It's not about keeping secrets. And that whole thing about jinx my ass. Players, that's how they operate in the dugout. That has nothing to do with me. And when I have people like Vin Scully, Dave Niehaus, Marty Brenneman, and just a host of other guys that say, "Hey, do your job, call the game." Duh.
I mean, if they say it, those are pretty reputable guys to take advice from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're telling the story. I mean, you want more people. Hey, I've said it. I think one of the no-nos, I think might have been Kuma. I said, "Hey, call your friends and family. Kuma's got a no-no going into the 7th. You may want to watch this."
See, I mean, like me, so I was a pitcher growing up. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I mean, like I'm very superstitious, like when it comes to baseball. I mean, but that's just the nature of the game.
That's one of the traditions that has been passed down over the years, and I get it.
Yeah.
And if I were a player and I were in the dugout, I'm like, hey, I'd do the same thing. I'd stay away from the pitcher, wouldn't say anything.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I mean, I'm broadcasting to a whole quadrant of the country.
That is
and
true.
These days, you can you might as well call it a national broadcast because you can watch it on your iPad, your iPhone, your computer. If people who have the MLB package.
Unless you're up here, I mean, that's the one part. Yeah, I don't like the blackouts. That's those parts, like when I'm up here and I'm trying to watch the Mariners game, like on my phone, and I can't watch it.
Yeah, I don't know. They need to lift that.
Yeah, it's. I do not agree with that one. Well, so in 2018, I lived down in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, like for the year, and I would so with the whole time difference, I mean, I would be watching Mariners games until 1 a.m.
Oh yeah. Oh man, I remember one time we had a game. I don't know, was it the Whites? And that was a Sunday day game. There was one time we went into extra innings, and we were playing at, let's see, game started at 7. Honest to God, I think we were playing at like 12, 12:30, 1 o'clock our time. And
Yeah,
we have fans
dang.
in Britain who I communicate with,
Uh-huh.
and we were getting tweets. Hey, nice to wake up and see Mariner baseball at 7 o'clock in the morning in Great Britain. And people write from Australia. Somebody wrote from Stockholm and somebody from Madrid. And I was like,
Wow.
all these Americans in it are waking up. Oh my God, there's a baseball game that's still live. You know,
Yeah.
like 10,000 miles away. It was pretty wild.
That's how, like, so when when MLB plays over in like London and like all those other places, I will wake up at 2 a.m. to watch the games just because it's it's cool. Like, I mean, it's
Part of home, man.
oh yeah, for sure. What who would you say would be the most or your most favorite commentator that you have worked with alongside?
Oh, Bill Raftery, not even close. Bill Raftery,
Why?
Jay Billis. Well, both of them are very knowledgeable, very enthusiastic. They're well prepared. They're passionate
Mm,
about what they do. Made a Dickie V, done games with him. James Lofton, Pro Football Hall of Famer. Jack Ham, Pro
mm.
Football Hall of Famer. Um, oh God, I've literally worked with 100
You
guys.
can
And
go list, just list
I
them.
did one.
That's
I did
wow.
one NBA game with Walt Frazier on. That was on radio? That was great. Um, the late John Thompson. I did the East Regional Final. His son's Georgetown team against North Carolina. Did
Wow.
another game with him the year after Maryland won the NCAA tournament, and they Drew. Oh, what was that dude's name? Drew something. He had a shot down. We were in Raleigh. No, that was in Nashville. That's right. It was in Nashville, and he beat UNC Wilmington. Coming down, I'll never forget. It came left to right in front of us, and Coach Thompson, he's going to hit it. He's going to hit it. I said, Drew down the sideline at the right corner. Yeah, hey, Maryland wins. And David, I told you, he was going to hit it. Those guys jump out, man. Those guys, they really jump out at me.
Mhm.
As just treats to work with.
That's awesome. What who so like when you're first getting into the sports media industry, who would be that like one of the first people that you met that you were just like, holy crap, like this is so and
Well,
so. Like
yeah, I had already
you
sort of gotten over that. I think after my internship, I started meeting a lot of guys,
mm,
and definitely in, I guess, the first 5 years when I was a sports writer. So, not that I went like all giddy and whatnot.
yeah.
But you do come away meeting a lot of dudes going, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's freaking Jack Nicklaus. That was Frank Gifford. That was Ahmad Rashad. That's I mean, I interviewed who did I interview? I interviewed Bart Starr one time.
Oh wow.
TV show. We used to simulcast my WNBC radio show,
Mm-hmm.
and we do it on the 9th floor at Madison Square Garden after Knick games. And I mean, I've interviewed all of the great centers of my era. I have a picture with Wilt, Russ, Kareem, and Bill Walton. And
Wow.
Wilt Chamberlain, doing an interview with Wilt Chamberlain was just, I did 2 interviews with him, and just a delightful guy.
Yeah.
Just full of life and funny, and just a big heart.
That's amazing.
I've been lucky, man. I've met just about. I think the only guy particularly of my youth, sports heroes in my youth, that I haven't met is Sandy Koufax. I interviewed Bob Gibson on radio. I met Lou Brock, was here at our ballpark a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Drysdale, Willie Mays. Hey, Willie. Hey, Dave, how are you? Willie Mays, Bill White, Hank Aaron. I mean, I could Billy Williams.
Amazing ball players.
Yeah.
Those are,
You
wow.
Steve Carlton. I mentioned Drysdale. Yeah, I've been real lucky. Whitey Ford, God, Whitey's still with us, but not with us. And he just delightful, funny guy.
So, yeah.
Mandel, of course. We used to do a show when we were doing the WNBC show. Like I said, we simulcast on MSG Network, Madison Square Garden Network.
Mm-hmm.
And during the summers, we started summer of '86. It was 86. It was 86. And I think that next year, within like 2 months, we had Mays on one show. We had grown men bringing their kid, and we had a live audience. So we had grown men had, they got tickets, first come, first serve, brought their kids, and Willie Mays came in the room, and grown men were crying. Same thing with Mays. It was great. It was unbelievable. I mean, that's how big those guys were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like to this day, like they are still seen as like absolute legends. Like if there was,
they set the bar very high, my man. They set the bar very high.
Oh yeah, early. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, like, is this, or I guess like me interviewing you, like, I think this would be considered one of those moments for me. Well, I mean, because I've listened to you and like watched you for 10 plus years.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. Thank you. I know I'm going into year 15.
Yeah.
And I've reached that stage where I hear that a lot. I was with somebody the other day. We're on a golf course, and I say, hey, I'm a big fan for a long time, And this guy probably, probably about your age. I still get like that when I talk to Mr. Scully because
that'd be amazing.
I'm very friendly with Marty Brenneman, the Reds Hall of Fame announcer.
Mm-hmm.
And then, all the contemporary guys I'm with, the contemporary guys, friendly with those guys. I mean, I love Kruk and Kipe with the Giants. And Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling and Gary Cohen with the Mets. And there's a lot of good broadcasters out there. And it's a pleasure to be around them. And that's one of many things that is missed with what the pandemic did. It cut down to travel, and usually you get a chance to sit down and break bread before a game, or at the very least by the batting cage, just say hello. I mean, used to see Jim Palmer twice a year, didn't see him this year. I hope and pray that, they can get the vaccine, we can get back to normal, we can start traveling again.
Yeah.
Because that traveling and being with the club and being able to interact with the guys, I mean, that's the meat on the bone of broadcasting.
Yep.
Because you form those relationships, you get those stories, you get all those great anecdotes, and you can tell stories on the air and wrap it around the low ball too, and he fouls one off the right field, that kind of stuff. So that is I'm proud to say that we got through this season without it, but if I can help it, I can do it again next year, but I wouldn't want to do it again a third year. I can tell you that.
No, I'm over the whole. I mean, COVID with baseball, it's just it's a little different.
Yeah,
to say
they're
the
surviving.
least.
I'm proud to be a member of Major League Baseball and proud of the Cardinals, proud of the Marlins that they overcame their humongous adversity.
Yeah.
And both teams making the playoffs, and Marlins still alive.
Yeah.
That's huge, and that's great for the game. And hopefully this is going to work out. And they're in California and Texas for the playoffs, and I think that's a smart move. And hopefully everything. And and the people who say it won't be the same championship. Tell you what, I think it puts a greater value on these guys to have persevered through being basically locked down and not be able to do anything. It puts even a greater value on any championships that are won this year. In all
I mean, like, for my opinion, like I like the new format that they have for the playoffs.
I don't know if I want to go 16, but how many we usually have? We have 3. We have 3, and then the 2 wild cards, 5. So that's 10.
Yeah.
So I think if they go to 12 teams.
12,
I can list 16 is a little much. 16 out of 30. That's come on.
It's. I mean, like, for like the downside of it, So so I so my grandma's side of the family, so they grew up in Chicago, so big Cubs fans. So I was a Cubs fan all growing up. I mean, I still am, but I have my American League team, Mariners. So, but like this year when the Cubs had the 3-game series against the Marlins, I was kind of nervous. So,
That.
and we all know what happened. So, but like it's really awesome to see a young group of guys make it to the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. No, that's one of the things we love about baseball. I mean, so many things you just never know.
I mean, like you really can't predict baseball.
Oh,
It,
I get people write me, who do you like in the playoffs? I said, what difference is it going to make? I'm going to forget it in 2 days anyway. So
yeah,
I just want to sit back and enjoy it. I mean, picking and rooting, two different things. I'm
yep,
rooting for the Yankees. I don't know Booney well, but I know him, fairly well.
hmm
And being a New York guy,
yeah,
that means a lot. Although I have tremendous respect for what Tampa Bay has done
yep,
with
oh
their
yeah,
organization, man. It's unbelievable how they continue to produce these tremendous pitchers, and they have just enough offense,
yep.
and they generally catch the ball. So, and the Miami team, good for Jeter and those guys. They have all that young pitching that has really come to the fore this year, and hopefully the Mariners can have the same kind of thing next year.
I believe they will be. It's all so. Well, like I was saying earlier, so I lived in South Florida in 2018, and I actually bought season tickets like for the Marlins, just so I can see, I guess, that young team like play. And there was a lot of fans that, I mean, they did not like what Jeter did, like with getting rid of like all the players and then like getting back.
Names, boy. Woo.
Exactly. So it's and it was really awesome to see like them plug people in. And
Yeah.
well, I mean, like the Mariners, I mean, they are kind of doing the same thing, like
Well,
getting all
yeah, they totally
the
stripped
young
it down. And,
talent. And
you're hoping that, they're hoping that, Jerry at one point said he thought 22 would be the year. He's hoping maybe even
mhm,
21 would be the year. We'll see. I mean, Kelnick's not going to come up. They're not going to probably bring him up till mid-May, mid to late
mhm,
May. Julio, I don't know. You get Gilbert and Kirby and those guys. And I got to believe that there'll be some free agents
yep.
available. I'm sure Jerry will try to make a deal or two. He's got to rebuild the bullpen. So we'll see. But I will tell you, 27 wins was 7 wins greater than I thought they were going to win. So I look at the season as a success.
Yes. I mean, as long as they do better than what they're projected,
Yeah, I mean,
hey,
nobody.
hey, that's a, oh yeah, no, it's a, no, it's,
For us to be noticed nationally, the Mariners they have to consistently win like they did. I
and
hate to keep harking back, but into the 90s, the 90, 95, and the 2000, 2001. They got to get back to that part because at that point, because it's almost it's an afterthought. Seattle has a team, and then with Griffey retired and Ichiro retired, I mean, we need a couple of marquee, a couple of guys to become marquee players nationwide, not just up in the Pacific Northwest, to get a little bit more recognition and more acclaim, and for more people to take notice of what's going on up here.
well, the Mariners do have a few guys who have those opportunities to make Seattle a name right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, now the promise is there. Now they have to deliver,
Yep.
and with pressure and with I wouldn't say maybe so much pressure, but expectations are going to be such that, dude, you got to pick it up, and you got to go from there. So we'll see what happens.
Well, Dave, let's wrap it up a little bit. So what? Okay, so let's say that a young kid came up to you and he wants to get into the sports media industry. What would you tell him,
Well,
and why would you say it?
I do this a lot, and I always tell kids if they're in high school or college, I said get involved with the theater department. Maybe even if you're just a grip and moving scenery and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
learn how to work in a team framework. Uh, read a lot, English, history, get familiar with the classics. And then, in this day and age, you've got this thing here where
Yeah.
you
Oh
can
yeah.
video and audio. You could practice like never before. We didn't have the opportunities to practice like what's available now. So get used to the sound of your voice. Get used to how you look and how you
That is.
present on camera. And the competition is freaking brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody and their brother. And then the other thing too, I mean, we were talking about getting to know producers, executive producers, and everything. Now that women are very much in the game,
Yep.
That's a whole nother level of competition. And a lot of these girls want to be, like Melanie Newman's doing some play-by-play, not a lot, but doing some play-by-play in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And, she's worked her way up through the minor leagues and whatnot. So that's what you're looking at. You just gotta compete and be ready. And if you're young enough and you're not married or anything, you're not beholden to wife and kids, and you got to be ready to move a couple, 3 times probably before you're 30, before you get settled in. And but the main thing is be conscientious, and like in every walk of life, the golden rule is always in play.
Yep. Well, nailed that one. Thank you so much.
You bet.
It's been awesome. Oh, and then I got to get a picture with you too, by the way.
Yeah, by all means.
Since we can't get one in person, I'll get one with you right now.
There you go. Got it?
Yo, yeah.
There we go.
Well,
all right, my man.
Hey, next year,
I'll see you down the ballpark.
Yeah, for sure.